Hello everyone, and welcome to another Stick It Down challenge of the month, and this is for March. And I know you see my videos when March is almost over, but hopefully these videos give you some inspiration. This is going to be my literal interpretation for this month's sketch. I've already cut out some pieces here. These are some leftover 6x6 sheets that I had from a not too shabby shop monthly subscription, and you know, I didn't have a whole lot left to go with it, so I thought this would be a great time to use these extra pieces. So I've already cut them out, and this month's sketch doesn't have, and they don't usually have any sizing for you, so I wanted to share with you what I cut my papers to. This one is a standard A2 size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is the end piece, and I made that a 1.5 inches by 4 1/4. And then this is the smaller strip, and I made that 1 inch by 4 1/4. And then I made an extra layer. This isn't in the design specifically, but I made the bottom layer here 4 1/4 by 3, and then I made a white top layer that is 4 by 2 3/4. And I've also cut 2 cm strips. I'm just going to glue them together so that's a little more thick and sturdy. And I'm going to use this old Stampin' Up! Set that has this really big happy birthday on it. So we're actually going to have 2 sentiments. The happy birthday is going to be the main focus, with a smaller sentiment strip as shown in the sketch, as one of these smaller ones here. And then I'm going to utilize a mess. So I don't know if you have these, or if anybody has some of these, this kind of hodgepodge of little stamps. I actually used to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator many years ago. Like, these are from 1994. That's how old this is. That's how old I am. And but you know, some of these little stamps like this that we have collect sometimes, they don't get a whole lot of use. So I'm going to use probably this cupcake one to add some decoration to the front of our little card here with the happy birthday sentiment. I have, you know, little balloons and little animals too, but because I've got a kind of a cupcake theme going on here, I think I'm just gonna go with a little cupcake. Looks like pretty good. Bright pink here. I got a really old reddish pink here. Let's try the reddish pink. Let's see what happens here. I don't know. This might actually be, this is like super old too, so you can see it costs only $3.35, which means it's like super duper old, because unless it's on clearance, you are not finding embossing powder for that price. So see, it left a lot of residue there. Okay, so I did it a couple times. This is the first try. It definitely melted all the little excess that was on there. This is the second try. I used this anti-static tool instead of my very old embossing buddy. That didn't make a huge difference because we still had stuff stuck. This is a little bit newer. This is newer embossing powder, and that did do better. It melted more smoothly, and it didn't have quite as much. It still had a lot of residue around the edge though, so you can still see pink around the edge. So now I'm thinking it's more to do with the paper I'm using, because it's not like rejecting the little particles of embossing powder even with the anti-static tool. So I'm not going to try a different piece of paper today, but that definitely could be a factor in why it's keeping extra residue of the embossing powder on there. So just keep that in mind when you do these kinds of things. This one's not cut to the right size, but I definitely like that color. But these ones go, I think, better. Some lovely lipstick. I think this is discontinued now, which is sad if it is, because I really like this color. And this is the color of paper I'm using here, is lovely lipstick from Stampin' Up. And it's not a perfect match with the Not Too Shabby paper, but I think it works. So I'm going to, should we use a different color? Nope. No. Should we use multiple colors? And there's this fun lime green in there and blue. As you can see, I messed up the original Happy Birthday. The green stamp had a little bit leftover red on it, and so my first green cupcake was more of a reddish green, and it was not pretty at all. So my next try is with the brighter pink, and I started stamping the cupcakes from the center out this time. Then when I did trim it down, because it wasn't cut down already, it was smaller than I intended, so I ended up putting another layer of paper behind it so that it wouldn't look so small against the lovely lipstick. And then I stamped To My Darling on the sentiment strip. Now that I have all the pieces to my card, I just glue them all together, and I've used liquid glue except for the final attachment to a base card. I did use double-sided adhesive tape just because I had so many layers of glue already. I didn't want my card to warp. All right, I got this popped up on some foam tape, both this and this, both the sentiments. And I need to obviously stick it on a card base, but I'm going to use this light yellow just to kind of put a little shine on the candles. And I love this Jelly Roll pen. It just has sparkle. I'm just going to add some sparkle to the little cupcake liners here. Maybe these little confetti things. But I really do like these Jelly Roll pens. And then it calls for 3 little embellishments, or 3 little circle things. So should they be the same color? All 3 of them. I have these pretty ones from This Calls for Confetti. I could get 3 different sizes of those. Maybe we should do that. All right, calls for 3. Like one big one here that's kind of off, one that's kind of on, and one that's kind of off too. So we'll do the triangle here. It's probably not the best placement I did for that 3rd one, but it is what it is. So we'll do a big one here, and we'll do a small one here. I'll try to move it out just a little bit so it doesn't look quite so lined up. This is a little bit different shine on this one, so okay, this is the worst picker upper tool, guys. Don't buy this one. It's not my favorite. What is it? Marvy Jewel Picker, made in Japan. See, I thought made in Japan would be good, but no, not so much. All right. Other than putting on a card base, that's my literal interpretation for this month's sketch. And as you can see, I am a hot mess in the craft room, so learn from me and don't do some of the mistakes that I do.